Hey y'all, welcome to another edition of our Saints pregame live chat brought to you by NOLA.com, the Times-Picayune. My name is Jeff Nowak, NOLA.com's digital sports producer. I forgot to hit the countdown button this time, so we don't have that fancy intro video, but I'm just going to go on the fly here. We have Saints, we have Falcons in Atlanta. It's going to be, as always, an interesting matchup. But this time around, it's kind of weird because these two teams played 2 weeks ago in week 11. Taysom Hill started that game. He's starting this game as well. And he's not going to catch anyone by surprise this time around. I see we have some people joining in. I'll slow play this a bit because I forgot to hit the intro video to give people time to actually get here. But again, my name is Jeff Nowak. I'm NOLA.com's digital sports producer. We're here to talk about Saints Falcons. We're here to talk about an NFC South showdown that, the Falcons don't really have much of a chance to make a dent in the NFC South race, but they do have still a slight, narrow, just thin little margin where they could theoretically win out and the Saints could lose out, and the Falcons would then get the NFC South title because they would win that common games tiebreaker. But the Saints can officially end that today. The Saints can officially knock out the Falcons from the division race, which, it's not really a thing, but it kind of feels like it in a rivalry like this one. I see y'all pouring some comments in. A lot of who dats, a lot of I'm readies. Make sure to drop those comments in, any questions, any score predictions, and I'll get to those in the second half. I'm really interested to see how confident you guys are today. Saints are without a few key players. We'll go through inactives in a bit. I think it's going to be a bit more of a struggle this time around with the Falcons able to scout a little more effectively and game plan for Taysom Hill a little better than they were the first time around. But I'm going to pop a screen share up really quickly, and we can go through some pregame notes. Yeah, here it is. If you're looking for any content, you're looking for pregame content, broadcast info, anything like that, head over to NOLA.com. Pregame info on NOLA.com /sports/Saints. I always have trouble saying backslash, especially this early in the morning when I'm still kind of waking up. I was up late working the LSU game last night. If any of y'all had the misfortune of watching that bloodbath, it went on forever. One of the things I really like about the NFL is the pace of the game. And when there are blowouts in the NFL, the game actually seems to go faster. It's the opposite in college. When there's a blowout, because of the rules and the timing and the first down, stopping the clock, and all the reviews, the games take forever. It was a 4-hour football game. So pardon me if I sound a little groggy, because I am. I've been mainlining coffee and caffeine generally for the last few hours. So just bear with me. All right, we're going to get going. If you're looking for any live updates, scoreboard info, anything like that, check this post out. We throw it up there every week. It's got everything you could possibly be looking for. Game day info. One thing that it's easy to forget about this series based on how it's been the last few years, the Falcons actually have the series lead over the Saints. They have won 52 of the 102 games. The Saints can get one step closer to evening that, to pulling within one game of evening the series record. Sean Payton, in the Sean Payton era, the Saints have swept the Falcons 7 times. They're trying to make it 8 today, which is pretty impressive considering, this is any rivalry. It's not going to be lopsided more often than not, just because of the emotions involved and the excitement that goes into it on both sides of the fan base. But the Saints have really had the Falcons' numbers the last few years, save that really bizarre matchup in Week 10 last year when the Falcons came into the Superdome at 1-7 and walked out with a pretty easy win. I don't think that's going to happen today, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see if Taysom Hill can bounce back from what was kind of a iffy start against the Broncos. They talked after the game about how, because of the Broncos quarterback situation, Taysom Hill had more of a game manager role. He said that the game plan changed dramatically. Those were his words. It changed dramatically before the game, the night before the game, because the Saints kind of went into that game knowing that as long as they didn't give the game away, they were going to win. The Broncos just did not have the pieces to move the ball, and the the quarterback who had the best chance of scoring for the Broncos in that game was Taysom Hill. And he threw one interception, and those were the points. The Broncos got a field goal off of a Taysom Hill interception. And I think when you watch that game back, which I did, I went through the tape, and you see a guy who was really just trying to keep everything as simple as possible. He was going to his first read. He wasn't extending plays. He wasn't throwing into questionable windows. He was running the play as designed, and just get out of there with a win. And that's basically what he said after the game. I think that he was a little more indecisive in that game because of that, because he was thinking rather than reacting, and that's never a good thing for a quarterback. So you got to be hopeful that he corrects that this time around against a team that he should be kind of comfortable against. He had a really nice game against them 2 weeks ago. He had a really nice game against them in Week 13 last year. He had a long touchdown run. He had a blocked punt. That was one of his coming out Swiss Army knife, I'm going to do everything games. So hopefully, hopefully he comes out today and does a similar thing. This game's on Fox today, by the way, so we don't have to worry about any of that UVerse, DirecTV, WWL debate or contract dispute, I should say, because it's not on that channel. But if you're looking for the CBS game and you have DirecTV, you probably won't have it. Okay, so a few notes here that I think are interesting. Some numbers. 17. That is the number of times the Saints have sacked Matt Ryan in the last 2 matchups. 17 times. They sacked him 9 times, which tied the franchise record in Week 13 of last season on Thanksgiving. And they sacked him 8 times, just one shy of that record, 2 weeks ago. That's remarkable. And the other interesting note, so they tied the franchise record for sacks in Week 13 of last season. The record they tied came in 2001, also against the Falcons, also in Week 13. That was Chris Chandler that the Saints got to that time. The other time the Saints played the Falcons in Week 13 since 2000, so in the last 2 decades, that was the game that the Falcons intercepted Drew Brees 5 times and ended his NFL record streak for consecutive games with a touchdown pass. So generally speaking, when the Falcons and the Saints play in Week 13, one of those 2 quarterbacks in the game is going to have a rough day. We'll see if that trend continues here. So 7, here's the next number. That is the number of consecutive Saints starts by a backup quarterback that they have won. The Saints have run out a quarterback not named Drew Brees 7 times over the last 2 seasons. They have won all 7 games. 5 of those came with Teddy Bridgewater last year and 2 so far with the Saints this year. That's also the number Taysom Hill wears, conveniently. So I don't know how you could possibly look it up in terms of an NFL record, but I doubt there are many teams that have a 1,000 winning percentage, perfect winning percentage over a 2-year stretch with games not started by their starting quarterback. So that's pretty remarkable. -2, that is the total receiving. Sorry, I have a bad habit of hitting my mic. I get really expressive here. -2, that is Alvin Kamara's total receiving yards over the last 2 games. 1 catch, -2 yards. He had no catches against the Falcons. And that's significant for a guy who had 67 catches for 648 yards over the first 9 games. He was leading the NFL by a wide margin for receiving yards by a running back. He was on pace to set a new NFL record for both catches and yardage, and receiving yardage for a running back. He was leading the NFL in yards from scrimmage, and those records have fallen by the wayside over the last 2 weeks. He could still push those to the end of the season, but it's just pretty clear that with Taysom Hill at quarterback, Alvin Kamara's role is a bit different. They're not getting those check downs. Taysom Hill is going to scramble in a lot of situations that Drew Brees would have checked down to Alvin Kamara, like the long touchdown pass against the Packers. If you remember that, where Drew Brees just checked down to Kamara on the left side, and he just made everyone miss and got to the end zone behind that Eric McCoy block. He never ran faster than Eric McCoy on that entire play. And that's the type of play you're just not going to get. You're not going to see with Taysom Hill, because in that situation, when the play breaks down, he's going to run. And you want him to run because that's one of his better skills. So it doesn't mesh quite as well. But as you saw, Latavius Murray had a really big game against the Broncos. So it goes both ways. It'll be interesting to see if the Saints try to incorporate Alvin Kamara in the passing game a bit more today, knowing that you really do want to get those guys on the same page. 2. So we have -2. Now we have 2. That is the number of Saints wins required for them to clinch the NFC South. Doesn't matter when they get them, but if they get a win today, that number drops to 1. And really, if they get a win today and the Bucs lose next week, the Bucs are off this week, so the Saints can't actually clinch the NFC South. If the Bucs lose next week, regardless of what the Saints do, if they win today, they would clinch the division. So they are very close to clinching their 4th consecutive NFC South title, but it can't happen today. They can clinch a playoff berth today, but not the NFC South. And 5, that is the number of Taysom Hill touchdown runs this season. It's kind of an obscure record for you. If he runs for another touchdown, he will set a new single season record for Saints quarterbacks. Archie Manning has the current record at 5. Drew Brees has the career record, I believe, because he has all those 1-yard touchdown runs. He probably has 28 touchdowns on 30 yards rushing. But that's kind of an interesting record, and it's surprising to me that you haven't, the Saints have had guys who could run at the quarterback position, but Archie Manning is the leader. So that's a pretty long-standing record. Here are some predictions. Our beat writers and columnists are very confident about the Saints today. I don't think it's going to be, so Amy Just has it at 35-21. Luke Johnson is at a 34-30. Rod Walker has it at 17-16. I think Rod and I are on the same wavelength here. I think the Saints are going to win this game, but I don't think you're going to see a 30, 40-point game. I think this is going to be kind of a grinded out, low-scoring game where the Saints know that they're undermanned on defense. Janoris Jenkins is out. We'll go through the inactives here in a second, but I think they're going to try to shorten this game as much as possible, knowing that they're without a few key pieces, which they have good experience doing a lot of this season, and they've been successful at it. They did it against the Lions. They did it against the Panthers. And the Saints have really proven that they can win in many different ways, so that's a positive thing. We have a few graphics coming up here, but we don't need to go through those. It's just a quick look at the standings. And that's the end of that. I'll leave you all on the feed, and we can go through some of these questions over here. First, I did want to see if I could find the inactives. Oh, we got Drew Brees. Drew Brees is out there today. There was a report earlier that is from Adam Schefter that he is looking. The Saints are looking to get him off the IR before next week. He could start next week. He was seen throwing at practice earlier this week. So there's some optimism there for Drew Brees. He didn't travel to Denver, but he did travel to Atlanta, so that's a good thing. Where are we? Y'all remember this? A decade ago today. Oh. And we can't forget this. We can't forget the Shy Tuttle bomb as it happened last year. Can't help myself. All right. Okay, I'm having trouble getting to the inactives, so I'm going to look that up over here while I get through a couple of your questions. And I'll just kind of let this run from the top. All right. Inactives. So one guy who is active, he got activated off injury reserve this week, Sheldon Rankins. Big piece to get back in the middle. You hope that he can stay healthy the rest of the season. David Onyemata has had a great season, especially filling in, with Sheldon Rankins not available. But, anytime you can add a premier defensive tackle, especially for a 4-3 team who really needs those space eaters inside, that's a big thing. And when you consider how good the Saints defense has been, even with that, losing him with the MCL sprain, it can only, that's only a good thing. Going down, Patrick Robinson will be active, even though he was questionable. He's likely going to fill in for Janoris Jenkins, who is missing with the knee injury that he suffered in the first half last week. If you remember, he intercepted a pass from Kendall Hinton and got hurt on the return. All-pro kick returner Deontay Harris, inactive for the second week in a row. Marquez Callaway, also inactive. Nick Easton looks like he's working with the first team, so he looks like he's going to get the start over Cesar Ruiz. Going down, Marcus Davenport is inactive with a discussion. Ty Montgomery is inactive. We haven't seen him in quite a while. Trevor Siemian, Malcolm Roach, Grant Haley, and Garrett Griffin are healthy scratches. Marquez Callaway, and a significant update. He was originally listed as inactive. He's actually been reverted to injured reserve, the undrafted rookie. So not only will he be out for this game, he will be out for at least the next 3 weeks. So you're talking week 13, week 14, week 15. They won't get him back until week 16. So with Deontay Harris hurt, with Marquez Callaway hurt, there are going to be some questions in the kick return game. I think you might see Tommy Lee Lewis back there. You might see some Austin Carr, maybe some Alvin Kamara if they need him. I doubt they want to throw him back there on kick returns, but if there are some more injuries, I think you could see him back there. So let's go through. I'm just going to go through some, just pop some up here. A who dat from Travis. I'm good, Larry. How are you? Charlene is ready. I couldn't tell whether your name was No Excuses or you were saying No Excuses. This is No Excuses saying who dat. So that's good for your morning. Got a who dat from Montana. That's quite a thing. From CJ504 FBA. I don't know what that means, but 31-0. I don't think so. I think the Falcons are gonna compete in this game. I would not be shocked if the Saints lose this game. It's easy to lose perspective that the Saints can lose football games. I think that's what happens when the Saints go on these long winning streaks seemingly every season, and then they have these kind of drop off games where you kind of just get like brought down to earth. The 49ers game last season was a good example of games that they can win, but they get pushed in because they're so dominant in a lot of these midseason games that it's easy to forget. You know, this Falcons team did show up in New Orleans and kind of embarrass the Saints last year in Week 10, and they have the weapons to do that. So we'll see if they. I think they'll assert themselves today. What's going to happen with Janoris Jenkins out? Patrick Robinson's going to fill in there. You'll see, probably a little more PJ Williams, and you'll see what happens. The Saints run a lot of nickel dime looks with safeties filling in and coverage, and so they're adept at handling this. They didn't have Marshawn Lattimore last week. They didn't have Marshawn Lattimore They didn't have Marshawn Lattimore or Janoris Jenkins against the Lions, and they held up in that game. So we'll see how they do. But it's good to see Marshawn Lattimore back in there. You hope that he can avoid re-injury in this game or a new injury, because Janoris Jenkins' injury, it didn't look major, but I do think that whenever you have a knee injury, you do worry that it's going to keep you on the shelf for a few weeks at best. So hopefully they can come out of this game healthy. You know, when you're 9-2, prioritizing health is usually more important, even though there's still playoff implications toward getting that 1 seed and getting that bye week. The bye week doesn't matter if you're without several key players because you ran them into the ground. So the Saints, I think the Saints are going to look at managing that as much as possible. Who dat from Nisi? Do you think Taysom Hill will throw the ball more? Well, compared to last game, any game will seem like they're throwing the ball more. Taysom threw the ball quite a bit last time they played the Falcons. I want to say he was 18 for 23. He had 233 passing yards. It could have been more if not for a hold by McCoy. I can't remember who had the hold, but he had that nice long touchdown to Emmanuel Sanders that got called back on a penalty. And he showed in that game that he is more than willing and capable to throw it downfield. It's just a matter of whether that's what the Saints try to do. I think that you're going to see Michael Thomas very involved today. I think you're going to see Taysom Hill try to push it downfield. And it's just a matter of whether he can make the throws and whether guys can make the catch. But he's going to throw it. The Saints are going to throw it. Turnover free. Yeah, the Saints have actually done a really good job of starting games fast. That was an issue early in the season where they came out flat in multiple games against the Raiders. Actually, they scored in the first possession against the Raiders, but they got behind early. They got behind the Packers, and that was an issue that you saw. The Chargers game really stands out where they got down big in the first half. Lions game, they got down 14-0. In the last 5 weeks, that hasn't happened. And you see how much easier it is to win a football game when you're not playing from behind, when you're not pushing a boulder up a hill. It's a much different situation. And that's what the Saints have done really well. Turnover free, yeah, that's always important. But the difference the last few weeks has been the defense has forced the turnovers. After a slow start forcing turnovers, the Saints has seemingly, I want to say 11, 12 turnovers in the last 4 games. You know, they're getting the ball back for their offense at an astounding rate. And they come in bunches when they come, and it makes a big difference. And so, yeah, if Taysom Hill protects the ball, if he doesn't fumble, the fumbles have been a bigger issue than anything else. The interception last week was a little fluky. It was a tip ball off Michael Thomas's hands, but the fumbles are a controllable thing. It's about ball security, and it's about when you get out in open field, being aware of where the defender is coming from and that he's going to be coming in hacking at the ball. And that's where Taysom Hill's been a little loose, and he needs to improve that because, you know, Drew Brees is going to come back, and his role is going to shift back to that Swiss Army knife, whatever you want to call it, flex role in the offense. And he's going to be running the ball. He's going to be catching the ball more than he's going to be throwing the ball. So he needs to be able to iron that out. He has 3 fumbles lost, 3 fumbles lost, and a fumble that Alvin Kamara recovered against the Lions this season alone. And that's not something you can have with his role in the offense. 30-3. Again, I know y'all are confident, but I'm not feeling that. I think it's going to be a lot closer. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. What color uniforms today? That I don't. Well, let's see. We have some pictures here. I'm sure we'll find one. Well, maybe. Looks like we're going with the white top, black pants. If this picture is telling me the truth, although they might not even be in jerseys yet. So we'll find out. That's the answer I'll go with. I could look it up, but I am not. I mean, it always makes a difference, but you don't know how they're going to be worked into the game plan. The Falcons are tough. The Falcons have a really good football team. It's just a matter if they can get the pieces to fit and get the pieces to play together. But there's always the Falcons can win games. They're 4-7. They're not a terrible team, and they've blown a 15-point lead and a 16-point lead in the fourth quarter of games. So they could easily be a 500 or better football team, a playoff competitive football team. They're not out of the playoff hunt yet. It's not like they're not 1-7 like they were last year going into the New Orleans where their season was pretty much done. You know, they are still in the hunt for that 7th wild card spot. It's at 6-5 right now. That's not a record that's going to put this out of contention. You know, if the Falcons reel off a few wins, if they finish 500, there is a chance they could sneak in to that final playoff spot. They probably need to go 9-7 to really feel like they have a chance, and that starts today. They can go 5-0. There's nothing stopping the Falcons from going 5-0 other than the Falcons. The rest of the way, I should say. White and black, yep. Go away. Y'all are talking to each other. Not sure why. 27-24 Saints. Yeah, I could see that. I think it's going to be close. I don't think this is going to be a blowout. Yeah, Taysom he needs to play better than he did last week, although he played well 2 weeks ago. So there is a frame of reference for him playing well against the Falcons. And the Broncos game is so strange, was so strange that I wouldn't take too much away from it. Taysom Hill said this week that he kind of had issues working through a lot of his normal in-game sets because the game plan changed so much and he switched into game manager mode, which he said he's never done before. And it slowed him down. You know, when you hear a guy talking about a game and, you know, people talking about the way he played as he looks like he's thinking too much, that's one of the worst things you can say about a guy at the quarterback position, because you get paralysis by analysis. You overthink simple things. You need to be able to react. You don't have time to think. You need to have already thought before the situation that you're trying to solve. And that's what he did 2 weeks ago. That's not what he did last week, although he didn't have to last week. So we'll see how it goes today. The Falcons pass rush is not great, so he should be able to have some time. Who dat from Phoenix? You don't see a lot of those. Not lose today, Calvin says. I think there's a lot of people in this chat that hope you're right. I don't like the play calling for Taysom. Unleash him, Tyree says. I think Sean is hiding him for another Super Bowl run next season. I don't think that's the case. He's not hiding anything. He paid him $20 million. The Saints paid him $26 million or whatever it was. They're not hiding him. They have made it perfectly clear how they feel about Taysom Hill. So we'll see how it looks today, but I don't think they're hiding him. If you want to make an argument they're hiding Jameis Winston, I could see that. I don't think that's true either, but I could understand it because, they haven't given him the chance to show his skill set this season to, audition for a contract next season. Okay, I think I'm back. That was weird. I think the mic got muted. But okay, I got the Oilers today. I'm not sure. Are you talking about hockey? What are you talking about? The real condition of Alvin Kamara's foot. It's still a foot. I don't think that they're hiding an injury there, but there's James. Yeah. I hope. Well, you should be good for this game. It's on Fox if you're talking about the CBS thing. But yeah, the DirecTV is having issues with WWL, and so is Uverse. They're in the contract dispute. So if you're trying to look at a game on CBS, you're not going to get it. But this game is on Fox, so you should be good. Like I always say, I haven't had a linear cable package in years, but I have an antenna and it works great. Costs me $10 at Walmart. I get the game. All networks are free anyway. I don't think most people really even kind of have that perspective that TV is free. So CBS, NBC, Fox, all the major networks you can get on an antenna. So anyone who is having trouble with CBS right now, go to Walmart, pick up a $10 antenna, set it up in 10 minutes. That's what I do to watch the game I'm to work now because I can't go to the games due to coronavirus. Hopefully that changes soon. But yeah, works fine. That's my recommendation. But I know it's frustrating when you pay all that money for these cable packages and they don't work. Is it time to bench Cook for Troutman? This will be the last one, and then I'll let you go. We got about 20 minutes to kick off. Jared Cook has been, I don't want to say ineffective, but he's been kind of absent. And I don't know what to make of it. He had a slow start to last season. He really started to pick it up in the second half. So maybe that can happen again. But yeah, I think Troutman has been a very effective player. He's a better blocker than Jared Cook. That's one thing that has always been a difficulty with Jared Cook is he's not a plus blocker. And if he's not getting targeted in the pass game, and he's not extending the defense at a level that makes sense to kind of limit yourself in the blocking schemes, then it is tough. I mean, I don't know what's slowing him down, but I think the Saints really could benefit from him getting a little more involved down the stretch. And as you go into the playoffs where scores are at such a premium and you need all the weapons that you can get, I don't know. But I think that as much as Cook has been kind of a absentee in terms of production, Troutman has been really, really kind of trying to think of the word. I don't want to say a revelation, but he's been a surprise to me, at least. For a rookie tight end, who traditionally rookie tight ends are not impactful. It's just a fact. And for a guy to come in out of Dayton, a small school with no preseason to get acclimated, I think he's been very effective. Those sets with he and Josh Hill running those those two tight end sets have been really effective in both the running game and the passing game. He almost had a second touchdown of his career last week. He had his first touchdown a few weeks ago and against the Bucs. And yeah, I mean, I think Troutman is a guy, the Saints gave up a lot to get him. They traded their entire draft board to move up and take him. And I think they have to be happy with that decision. All right, I lied. One more. hoping for an entertaining game. Hill needs a passing touchdown. I think you are correct. I think Taysom Hill will get his first passing touchdown today. He will also run for a touchdown. Saints win 27-24. I know someone threw that in there. I think it's a good prediction. I think that's how we go. I think Will Lutz hits a game winner or a go-ahead field goal in the final 2 minutes. And that's how the Saints pull this one out. We'll see if the Saints sack Matt Ryan 9 more times. Not only will they win, they will turn Matty Ice into Matty Ice Pack and won't go well for the Falcons. But all right. Again, my name is Jeff Nowak, NOLA.com's digital sports producer. I always appreciate everyone chiming in, everyone checking out our live chats. Feel free to hit me up on Twitter at Jeff_Nowak. I'm going to turn around and start working the game here from my antenna connected TV. And feel free to reach out. DMs are always open. If you have anything you'd like to see in the live chat, anything like that, anything you'd like some coverage on, let me know and I'll see what I can do. Thanks again, everyone, for checking us out. And peace, y'all. See you next week.